this is going to be one of the most important parts that you need to know about how to sell yourself. And in many ways, it bypasses a lot of the traditional mechanisms that people think they need to know on how to sell. And if you learn nothing else, learn this part well. And what I also mean is, if somebody has more experience than you and other things, then you actually can still beat them. They want more experience, they've got better titles, you have the advantage that they won't have. So I'm going to go into it. So let's pick a simple role, and I just say something like a project manager. They manage projects, and you manage some people, and you manage tasks and projects. So if I take it simple as a role, what is a role? You're a project manager. So if I ask you what sort of project manager, you might say, well, I've been a project manager for 3 years. And I manage in a medium-sized company. And my title was manager. I was a project manager. And we might say, what do you do? Well, what actions do you do? Actions or responsibilities? Abilities? What responsibilities did you take? And well, you managed 3 staff on the project. You reported on it and tracked it, the project, and you worked with the CFO, and you managed a $5 million in the end, $5 million transformation projects. So $5 million. Now here's where we can get unstuck. We think that's pretty good, and it is. What if someone else comes along though, who is a little bit different? Perhaps they've worked 10 years. I'll use a different color. 10 years. In project management. And they've worked with a larger company. The turnover was much bigger. People have it as a household name. And their title was senior manager. That was their title, senior project manager. And they managed 10 staff. And they also did reports, but obviously they oversaw reports. So the overall reporting. They managed the overall reporting. And they also work with the CFO, but they also work with the CEO, and sometimes they reported to the board. And their project was $15 million. They worked on $15 million projects. So on paper now, this person looks a lot better. If you needed a good project manager, which one do you think is better? On paper, this one. He's done more, he's managed bigger projects, he's had more staff, he's worked for a bigger company. If I take away the equation that you might want somebody who's worked with a smaller company, this person is obviously more qualified at project management than this person, based on these criteria. But have we always known somebody that maybe had the title and worked for the company for a while, but weren't really that good? In fact, people wouldn't hire them now if they knew stuff about them, but they haven't done enough to be let go. So how do you show that you're not that type of person? In fact, how do I know this person's any good? How do I know this person is better than this person? Now, in the modern world, in the way we interview and read resumes, often we don't know. That's all we have to go on. We might put a few things to tweak it and show we have a bit more different dimension or that we did a good job. But most of the time, This is how it's analyzed. So I want to backtrack a little bit. I want you to think about what is the purpose of the role. So for example, you're a project manager. You do project management. What is the result of project management? What is the result of doing those things, doing those tasks? It's obviously to have the project being delivered and run well and delivering a certain result. So let's go back here and just write a few things up then. So the role is you're being something. I'm being a project manager. I do the tasks related to project management and I have certain results. That is what I have at the end. Now this is the philosophy is common to a lot of areas, even in religion they've actually covered this sort of thing, but it's actually just a rule of life. You ask something to do something, you have a result. The problem is in most roles, unless it's like a sales role where you can track it with dollars and compare how much you sold to someone else, or maybe there's certain KPIs which are universal, most of the time, most roles, we don't track the results. At least not in our normal course of business. So therefore, because we don't track results, we can't compare results easily. And even KPIs, often they're quite job specific and company specific. A KPI for a project manager here can be different from a KPI for project manager somewhere else. So here's what we're going to do. And I'm going to cover this very quickly. And a project management is a simple way, but I'm going to show you how 4 different ways of how to show results. And then later I'm going to continually add templates and examples that you can look up that maybe expand different industries and different roles. So you can actually work out how do you compare results and how to demonstrate results. So as a start, if I look at a project management role, I might have a look at this and I say, well, what does this guy deliver? My first project, I might have delivered it $500,000. It was a $3 million project. I delivered $500,000 under, and it was 2 months early. And from that, because I did such a good job, they took my team, added 2 more, or took my team and they stayed with me. Right? Say there's 3 to 5 staff, and then now I've got 5 staff. They persisted, and now I delivered it $1 million under budget. This $5 million project was supposed to be a $6 million project, $1 million under. And I delivered it 3 months ahead. Not that that's common to deliver 3 months ahead, but what might be uncommon is the KPIs from the project is 30% better than target. Now the target could be anything. It could be dollars saved, it could be complaints reduced, but they had a target to say improve complaints by 50%, improve servicing of issues by a certain amount, and you beat that by 30%. And then you can say, how did you do that? Because they would ask, how did you do that? And then you can say how you did it. This other person here, we don't know. But here's the thing, they might have been bad at the job. And what does bad at the job look like? Their reporting was always late and inaccurate. And I've been in organizations where that's been the case. They might have gone over budget, 2 million over, 6 months late. In fact, the project didn't deliver. It was a failed after 3 months because they tried it and then it didn't deliver. So they abandoned it and started another project to do the thing. And this person, the reason he's leaving this job is because he did so bad at it, they're not going to give him another project. He's worried about his future. He needs to find something better. He needs to find another place where he can do his role, get his money, because they're not going to give him another role. In fact, they might get rid of him or move him to a different position, a different role. So you don't know that. But the point is, this person on paper looks better, but he's not going to tell you all this stuff. He looks better, but he isn't better. This person doesn't look as good, but is a lot better. Because if you can deliver the results, you can obviously do the things required and be that type of person who's good at that. Now, the other thing you should be aware is, whilst this person won't tell you all this person who's often good often will not tell you. In fact, you have to dig it out of them. And it might be the situation where I'm trying to dig it out of you. I've been coaching quite a few people, and the stuff that they delivered is amazing. But you would never know. When they turn up at the interview or when you read their resume, they don't have this stuff. Put this stuff in. People will now say, well, how did you deliver that? And then you can explain it. And that's how you make the sale. That's how they realize that you really are good at the job. Yes, they might want you to step up. You delivered 5 million, their next project is 10 million. But if you delivered it here, you're going to deliver it, more likely to deliver it at 10 million than this guy who's failed it at 15 million. Sell your results, and you can bypass this process of trying to compare experience, titles, companies that you work for. This is really one of the biggest keys, and one of the keys that I've used myself to help me get into positions where perhaps there were more qualified people, people asking for less money than me, but I got the role. This is, if you learn nothing else, one of the biggest keys of the foundations of selling yourself.